Starting the countdown at number 10 is Danny Lloyd. He became a child star after he took on the iconic role as Danny Torrance in the 1980 movie The Shining. Maybe you've wondered whatever happened to him after he took on that huge role. Turns out he gave up on his acting career quite young and went down a completely different path. He is now a biology professor at a community college in Kentucky. He worked on a farm, he says, to pay his way through university. He's also a dad now to 4 children, so he is living a very busy life of a working father. When the new Dr. Sleep movie came out in 2019, people thought he was going to return to reprise his role since it featured footage and paid tribute to the original story. He decided to sit this one out, but he was very supportive of the new movie and said he knew that they would do a good job with casting regardless. Man, how do you not reprise that role? That would have been so cool! All these years later, you get to take on the most iconic movie. Come on, man. Coming in next, number 9 is Kevin Jonas. He was once a member of one of the biggest heartthrob boy bands in the world, the Jonas Brothers. After their band broke up, his brothers Joe and Nick both went on to have their individual music careers, but he disappeared from the spotlight. He did return for their epic reunion tour last year, which I went to, but what has he been doing all this time and where is he at now? For starters, he is married with 2 kids, 2 little girls who we actually got to see in their tour promo video. And after the band broke up in 2013, he's been very busy with a few different business avenues. One that he has been invested in the most has been his company called Jonas Werner. It is a real estate development and construction company that he established. He is also the co-CEO of a company called The Blue Market, which is a communications company that focuses on social media growth. In spot number 8 is Mara Wilson. At some point in your life, you have probably wondered whatever happened to Matilda. I know I have. The movie is one that people still talk about today, and a scene from the movie even became a viral trend online. People began to dance around and pretend to make objects move, similar to how Matilda did in the movie. So what is the iconic actress up to these days, and where has she been all this time? Turns out she decided to quit the business just a few years after Matilda was released. Along the way, she found a passion for writing, and she started to write her own novels. One of the novels was actually a life update. She titled it, "Where Am I Now? True Stories of Girlhood and Accidental Fame." In it, she shared her experience as a young star and what made her decide to quit in the first place. Outside of writing, she lives a very normal, quiet life, which she is okay with. Oh, if they did a Matilda remake, bruh, just hire me. I have the bow and everything. I do look like little Matilda in the movie. You haven't seen?
No, I said I could see that.
Oh, Chris, I thought you just said you haven't seen it. Like the little, when she wears little bows and had short brown hair. That was me as a kid. Swiping the number 7 spot is Kirk Cameron. He was once a huge sitcom star after his role on the series Growing Pains. The show began in 1985 and was dominating the television ratings. Kirk joined the cast when he was just 14 years old, and at first he was mesmerized by Hollywood and all the benefits of fame. But then he started to resent it and chose to go down a completely different path. Rather than making audiences roll with laughter, he wanted to bring them to the Lord. That is right, he went from sitcom star to evangelist. He formed an organization with a fellow pastor called The Way of the Master, where they would educate and preach the message of Christianity to non-believers. His most recent job is running a marriage workshop called Living Room Reset, where he uses his spiritual teachings to help couples in need. Ain't that the life change? Moving on to spot number 6, we have Dylan Sprouse. If you don't know who he is one of the twin brothers from the hit Disney Channel show The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. At the height of his career, it was reported that he was making $40,000 per episode, so it was shocking when news broke in 2011 that he and his brother were leaving their roles for good. They both went quiet for a while, and although we see his twin brother in the Netflix series Riverdale, Dylan left acting and pursued a normal career. Turns out that Dylan went to study at NYU and he developed a passion for brewing. So he worked hard and created his own brewery called the All Wise Brewery. Fans only knew about it because in 2013, some of them posted pictures online after they spotted him pouring lattes and serving beer, which would be really cool. I would lose my mind. I was a big fan of that Disney show. Please serve me a latte. How cool would that be? And beer.
Halfway number 5, Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish got famous overnight when she was just a teenager, so it's been very hard for her to navigate. Thankfully, she's very close with her family and works with her brother Phineas on all her projects. But Billie has not stayed silent about her hatred of fame. When asked about her fame, she said, quote, "I don't mean this in necessarily a negative way, but I sort of lost my teenage years because this all started when I was 13. There was no training, there's no let me go to school and that's teach me how to be famous. Also, that would suck. That would be a trash school. Famous people suck. Fame is trash." If fame is so bad, you might be wondering why she bothers to be in the industry at all. Billie says the rush of performing for her fans makes it all worth it. Quote, "It's 50-50, half of it's horrible, half of it's unbelievably amazing and completely priceless." And at number 4, Gigi Hadid. In 2017, Gigi revealed that getting famous had a negative impact on a lot of her friendships. Apparently, it's made her circle of friends a lot smaller. She said, quote, "A lot of interesting things and friends come out, so in a way it's good because you learn it's better to have a few really good friends than tons of friends you aren't really sure about." She continued, quote, "I've lost a lot of friends because I'll get busy for a short period of time and they're not reaching out, but if I don't reach out, then it's like I've changed." Thankfully, Gigi has her famous family to support her in the spotlight. However, with the birth of her new daughter, she's starting to settle down, and I wouldn't be surprised if she takes a step back from modeling altogether. And at number 3, Idris Elba. Idris Elba revealed that being famous makes dating very hard, and he was always worried that people weren't with him for love, but rather for the benefits. He told Loaded in 2014 that his famous face made it hard to trust potential love interests. Quote, "Sometimes you're not sure what's real or not, especially when it comes to relationships." He told Loaded in 2014 that his famous face made it hard to trust potential love interests. Quote, "Sometimes you're not sure what's real or not, especially when it comes to relationships." He's admitted that he's been guilty of second-guessing women that he's been with, paranoid that they don't actually love him for who he is. Thankfully, he's now married to Sabrina Dowry, so he can put those questions to rest. And at number 2, Kylie Jenner. Kylie Jenner is one of the most famous people in the world, being the second most followed person on Instagram after Ariana Grande. And because of how famous she is, she's constantly anxious about what people might be saying about her or huge scandals that might be about to drop. She revealed, quote, "I wake up every morning with the worst anxiety. I don't know why. I have a problem." She shared, "I wake up every morning at 7 or 8 because I think that there's a bad story about me and I have to check. My worst fear is waking up and finding something bad about me on the internet." And sadly for Kylie, I would guess that she has woken up to unflattering headlines many times in the past. And finally at number 1, Jennifer Lawrence. It seems that even Jennifer Lawrence, who was at one point one of the most eligible bachelorettes in the world, had a hard time dating because of fame. Apparently she was too intimidating for a lot of men, so she hardly ever dated. Before her marriage to Cook Maroney, she told Vogue about her struggles dating, saying, quote, "No one ever asks me out. I'm lonely every Saturday night. Guys are so mean to me. I know where it's coming from. I know they're trying to establish dominance, but it hurts my feelings. I'm just a girl who wants you to be nice to me. I am straight as an arrow. I feel like I need to meet a guy, with all due respect, who has been living in Baghdad for 5 years and who has no idea who I am." Thankfully, Jen was able to find a new man, and her now husband is the director of New York City's Gladstone Gallery.
Kicking things off at number 10, we have Robert Pattinson. The Twilight heartthrob had the spotlight shine on him for the first time after the release of the first Twilight movie back in 2008, and it's really been on him ever since. The limelight may seem like one's biggest dream, but to Pattinson, it's a nightmare. Robert often speaks out about how isolating fame can be and how it feels strange to be held to such a high standard. The actor says that it's a weird feeling to wake up one day and not be considered a normal person. Pattinson even stated that once fame hits, you lose your normal life. Pattinson is also critical of his fame because he's been pegged as that guy from Twilight, even though he's done many other projects since the saga came to a close. He doubts he will ever shake that sultry vampire image, so he chooses to live his life away from the public eye. In at number 9, Kristen Stewart. Speaking of Twilight, actress Kristen Stewart has seemed to have fallen into the same sort of boat as ex-Robert Pattinson. Kristen, who's actually been acting since she was a child, really saw her image taken to new heights after the premiere of the Twilight saga. She had a struggle with fame after the very public breakup with co-star Robert Pattinson back in 2013. The breakup that caused massive media attention turned on her and her cheating scandal with director Rupert Sanders. As the drama surrounding the scandal began to disappear, so did she. After the release of her film Snow White and the Huntsman, Stewart seemed to have taken a break from the public eye for a few years. Upon making her slow return back to Hollywood, she was heard comparing her fame to having her limbs cut off. I think it's safe to say that Hollywood rubbed her the wrong way and she just couldn't handle it. Coming in at number 8, Macaulay Culkin. Former child star Macaulay Culkin was brought into the spotlight very early in his career. Upon reaching his peak in the 90s after the release of Home Alone, Culkin continued to have a pretty steady career. It wasn't until he reached the age of 16 that he decided to take a step back from the fame. After getting emancipated from his family, Macaulay went a little sideways and started getting himself into some trouble. After getting into trouble with the law and abusing illegal substances, the actor found himself back into the spotlight again, but this time for his fall from grace. Everyone knew him as the adorable child star from the 90s, and soon his image became tarnished. It wasn't soon after his public downfall that Culkin took a step back from Hollywood once again. Since then, he's decided to lay low and not gather too much attention. He's since referred to his fame as a blessing and a curse, as it got him a lot of success as a child, but he just couldn't handle the fame. Jumping into number 7, we have Daniel Radcliffe. We all know Daniel Radcliffe for his iconic role as Harry Potter, but what we've neglected to realize is that he's been in the public eye since he was a child. Kicking off his career as a boy wizard back in 2001, Radcliffe had his share of scrutiny from the public. Daniel has been quite vocal about his struggle with fame since being a child, saying things like, "People will boo you even if you're a child." Can you believe that? Imagine living your life as a 10-year-old and having people boo you just for being you. I mean, I understand being booed for some controversial thing you did in your past, but come on people, he's just a kid. The actor has also voiced his struggle with coping with fame, saying it's tempting to turn to alcohol to deal with scrutiny. Poor guy. I mean, this sort of gives us an idea as to why many celebs have substance abuse problems, but luckily, Radcliffe's doing okay even with all this fame. But since the end of the Harry Potter movies, he's chosen to keep out of the spotlight as much as possible. Over here at number 6, we have Demi Lovato. Former Disney star Demi Lovato found her start at just 16 years old upon getting her starring role in Camp Rock. After the movie's release, Demi continued to find success on the Disney Channel and with her own music career. But it seems that after her run with Disney, she began to crack under Mickey Mouse's pressure. Just 2 years after the release of Camp Rock, Demi reportedly assaulted one of the backup dancers she was traveling with. This began a very public criticism of the star. After leaving the Disney Channel, Demi found herself caught in the middle of other scandals like drug abuse and mental health relapses. Demi was diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and this, mixed with the stress of being a child star in the media, just became too much for her. Demi started going in and out of rehab, but has finally seemed to come out in a better place. Focusing on her music, she's mostly stayed out of the spotlight and continues to get better.
Halfway number 5, Nikki Blonsky. Nikki Blonsky's success was something out of a movie. She auditioned for the movie Hairspray in an open casting call and managed to snag the part over thousands of other people. She was just a regular girl whose world got turned upside down. And you would never know it because of how great she played the role. After her breakout success from the movie, she experienced some lulls in her career and wasn't able to gain the same success again. At one point she even needed to get a real job again to pay her bills. This theory gained traction when a picture went viral showing Blonsky sweeping up in a salon. Then in December of 2011, she tweeted out, quote, "It's true I'm working at Superstar Salon as a makeup artist, and more I'm proud to be working and helping pay bills, but I'll never lose sight of my dreams." And at number 4, Mara Wilson. Mara Wilson was the adorable girl who played the part of Matilda in the 90s movie that stole all of our hearts. It's one of my all-time favorite movies. Wilson became a star overnight and even got a place in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But even though her whole career was ahead of her, her dreams were not to act. She decided to quit acting at the height of her career to pursue her true love, which is writing. She's now a published author and has released a book about her life. Wilson is also a spokeswoman for depression, anxiety, and other mental disorders, as well as the LGBTQ community. And at number 3, Chris Humphries. Chris Humphries was somewhat famous while he was a basketball player, even making some pretty good money in the process. But his fame exploded when it was rumored that he was dating Kim Kardashian, which we now turned into an epic disaster. The pair got married quickly, but got divorced even faster. And after their uber lavish wedding, Kim filed for divorce only 72 days later. But after his life became a public spectacle, Humphries couldn't deliver the way he wanted to on the court and decided to retire from basketball in 2019. Since he was very well known in the sport, he easily could have went into broadcasting or even coaching, but he decided to retire out of the spotlight, and now he's a real estate agent along with a franchisee of Crisp & Green, a health food restaurant chain based in Minnesota. And at number 2, Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz first made a name for herself in Hollywood after she starred in the hit movie The Mask. She then went on to star in huge movies like There's Something About Mary and Charlie's Angels. She was last on the big screen when she starred in 2014's Annie. A few years later in 2018, she announced she had retired from acting. She explained that she really didn't miss performing. She also had recently become a mother at that time and wanted to focus on her family. She also explained on the Goop podcast that she wanted to be independent and navigate the world as an adult on her own, even adding that the movie business babied her, making her live her life the way that they wanted her to. She now runs a successful wine company called Aveline, which is a clean wine company. And finally, number 1, Meghan Markle. I guess calling Meghan Markle's life normal is a bit of a stretch, but she did leave the acting business to pursue a different venture as a member of the British royal family. Meghan became a household name while she was playing the character of Rachel Zane on Suits for 7 seasons. While she was filming the show, a friend of hers set her up on a blind date with Prince Harry of all people. They fell in love and decided to get married. One condition of the marriage is that Meghan would have to give up her celebrity status, move to London, and dedicate herself to the royal family. So she decided to leave the show early and start her new life as a royal, although the decision brought her even more attention than she ever had before. Because of all the scrutiny the couple received in and out of the family, they decided to leave the royal family shortly after, and they are now back in LA, embracing their celebrity status once again.
Starting off this countdown, we have Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz has starred in a number of iconic movies, from The Mask to There's Something About Mary to Charlie's Angels, and how could we forget about Shrek? Sadly, it seems as if Cameron is over her acting days. She last appeared on screen in 2014 for the film Annie. 4 years later, in 2018, she announced that she has retired. She said that she didn't really miss performing, and as of now, she's just enjoying spending quality time with her daughter. And she loves having tons of time for herself. Who knows though, maybe in a couple more years she'll give acting another go. But as for now, she's set on her retirement. In our 9th spot, we have Jennifer Stone. Any fan of the old school Disney Channel days will recognize Jennifer Stone from Wizards of Waverly Place, where she plays the eccentric Harper. After her Disney Channel days, Jennifer went on to star in a number of TV miniseries and movies. In fact, she was even in a Christmas movie with the actor who played Ned in Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide. Smash that like button if you remember that show. That's a throwback. Anyway, nowadays Jennifer has completely switched careers. She is now a registered nurse and is helping patients with COVID-19. That is incredible. Good for her. In our 8th spot, we have Jessica Biel. In an interview a couple years ago, Jessica revealed that it's getting harder and harder for her to get roles and to be cast. She claims that her good looks were holding her back. No word of a lie, she said that she was too pretty. Anyways, Jessica is still currently acting, but in more low-key roles. I believe her last big role was The Sinner in 2017. I mean, I heard it's a very good show, so props to her. But after that, it's been mainly voiceover gigs like in BoJack Horseman and Pete the Cat. Nothing huge and Oscar-worthy. Coming in at number 7, we have Lindsay Lohan. Honestly, Lindsay Lohan was responsible for some of the most iconic teen movies like Confessions of a Teenage Drama Queen, The Parent Trap, Get a Clue, Mean Girls, Freaky Friday, like the list goes on and on. So it's quite sad that we lost such a talented actress with tons of potential. Anyways, Lohan's drug addiction got to her and she kind of fell off the map. When she did try and get back into acting, she was hard to deal with on set and she was demanding and unprofessional. Then of course we had the reality show Lindsay Lohan Beach Club in 2019, and that only lasted 1 season. Now she's back out of the public eye again. Coming in at number 6, we have Terry Crews, another actor who has been in some iconic shows and movies. But after Brooklyn Nine-Nine ending, it doesn't seem like Crews has any more work lined up and ready to go. According to his IMDb page, he only filmed Brooklyn Nine-Nine this year, as well as voiced a character in the upcoming animated movie Rumble. This is unlike him, who is normally filming non-stop each year with multiple projects on the go. Hopefully we will be seeing more of Crews next year, but as of now he has no projects lined up.
At number 5, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has, for the most part, always been pretty open about her life and her struggles. She's an open book with many of her fans about aspects of her everyday life, and that includes her career and the fame that comes with it. During an interview with CBS Sunday Morning back in 2016, Gaga spoke out about how fame has affected her life, and though she's grateful for the life it's given her, there are some negative aspects of fame that she isn't a fan of. During the interview, the singer vocalized how being famous impacts your privacy, where she said, quote, "I'm very acutely aware that once I cross that property line, I'm not free anymore. As soon as I go out into the world, I belong in a way to everyone else. It's legal to follow me, it's legal to stalk me at the beach, and I can't call the police or ask them to leave." On top of the concern of her privacy, Gaga also vocalized how her fame has taken away her freedom to just spark up a normal conversation with someone. The singer said that she missed being able to have conversations with people, as she said, quote, "I miss people. I miss, going somewhere and meeting a random person and saying hi and having a conversation about life. I love people, end quote. At number 4, Zach Galifianakis. During a 2014 press conference for the movie Birdman, actor Zach Galifianakis said that being a celebrity is dumb. This came after the film's cast talked about the notion of being a celebrity and having fame, a theme that is constant throughout the film. When the actor was asked about blurring the lines between performance and reality in the film, Zach began to spoke about his own experiences being a celebrity and how he doesn't like it. Zach said, quote, "It's dumb. I'm not interested in it. I like to be an actor and that's it. The blurred lines are, I think, man-made. I think celebrity is man-made things. It's not innate in us. We have people telling us that we should pay attention to these people for the wrong reasons, their personal lives and that stuff. I'm just being honest. I would rather do my work and go home and watch Lifetime or something," end quote. Seems like being a celebrity is more taxing than fun. At number 3, Gigi Hadid. You would think that being a celebrity would grant you all of these amazing perks and you would have so many friends because of it, but apparently that's not exactly true, and being a celebrity can actually be pretty isolating. At least that's what supermodel Gigi Hadid has said in regards to fame. During a 2019 interview with Elle magazine, Gigi said that because of her work, she's lost a lot of friends. Speaking on this, Gigi said, quote, "I lost a lot of friends because I'll get busy for a short period of time and they're not reaching out. But if I don't reach out, it's like I've changed." She said that because her work is so demanding, a lot of people don't understand how taxing it can really be, and so when she disappears for work for a while, some people don't really wait for her in return and they just move on. To further explain her struggles with keeping her social life and work life in check, Gigi said, quote, "There are people who understand that I love them and who know that when I get back to town, I'm going to call them, but sometimes I can't call every day because I'm in weird places. Because a lot of the time I feel suffocated by my own work ethic and by my expectations I put on myself. It's really nice when you have people who say it's okay, take time for yourself," end quote. So just remember, if you ever get famous, don't expect all of your friends to stick around. At number 2, Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson has had a love-hate relationship with fame, and it all started after his career was boosted with the success of the Twilight franchise. Robert has said in interviews that his first unpleasant experiences with fame came from fans, saying that some of them were very intense. In one interview, the actor recalled some creepy run-ins that he had with fans as he said, quote, "Suddenly everywhere I went, people thought they already knew me. They look at a photo of me and think they have a special relationship, a friendship, an affair with me, someone they haven't met their whole life," end quote. Coming out of this initial rise to fame, Robert has said that since gaining so much notoriety, he no longer feels like he has any privacy in his life. As he said, quote, "People were like, it's fine, who cares? They're just photos. They'll say, just live your life. But that's not life for me if someone is observing it," end quote. I honestly couldn't imagine how weird it would be to constantly have people checking in on your everyday life. And finally, at number 1, Megan Fox. During a 2013 interview with Esquire magazine, Megan Fox spoke out about how people view celebrities in the media and how it's unfair that celebrities get treated so poorly by the public and are just expected to take it. Throughout her career, Megan has been sexualized by Hollywood, and people have made comments about her appearance and her personality, some of those comments being quite negative, and Megan has said that it's not fair that she and many other celebrities are just expected to treat that criticism as normal or just part of the job. In the interview, Megan said, quote, "I don't think people understand. They all think that we should shut the F up and stop complaining because you live in a big house or drive a Bentley. So your life must be so great. What people don't realize is that fame, whatever your worst experience in high school, when you were bullied by those 10 kids in high school, fame is that, but on a global scale, where you were bullied by millions of people constantly. Not everyone understands that's the deal," end quote. Honestly, I get upset just reading hate comments on the internet, so to experience them on a global scale is something that I could not even imagine.
In at number 10, Kendall Jenner. You'd think that being as rich and famous as the Kardashian family would instantly make you happy, but sadly it's anything but. Kendall Jenner says her fame and success has actually made her felt more left out from her family because her work involves a lot of traveling. Apparently when she would leave, she felt that her family was getting closer without her. Of course she's happy with the work that she's getting, but it feels lonely when she has nobody to share it with. She's complained about missing out on the lives of her nieces and nephews and not getting the family time that everyone else gets. Maybe at one point she might even want to retire from the modeling world and focus on being with her family full time. In at number 9, Amy Winehouse. The story of Amy Winehouse's career is very sad because she was making incredible music and making tons of money, but the more famous she got, the more she struggled with her mental health. Winehouse made millions of dollars during her short career, and she was even starting her own record label, but she was miserable. During her fame, she became addicted to substances, somewhat caused by the pressures of her sudden fame. In the end, her addictions cost her life. In one of her most famous songs, she even sang about her refusal to go to rehab and get help. She was able to get sober from the drugs, but she was still a heavy alcohol drinker in her final months, and she actually passed away due to alcohol poisoning. And at number 8, Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez is known as a bright and happy Disney star who later turned her talents to music. But even though she was incredibly famous, she revealed that she had been suffering with lupus for many years. She tried to keep it low-key, but at a certain point it was taking such a toll on her life that she wasn't able to work like she had before. She even needed a kidney transplant to save her life at one point. Throughout her battle, she's been suffering from pain, anxiety, and depression, which she says stem from her lupus. And even though she is rich and famous, nothing seems to end her pain. What good is having all this money if you're too ill to spend it? She also is constantly reminded of her ex-boyfriend Justin Bieber, who is now married to Hailey Baldwin. And at number 7, Ashley Judd. Actress Ashley Judd had a great career in Hollywood full of money and fame. But after she had been in the industry for years and saw all the terrible things that take place firsthand, she decided to leave it all behind. While she was in the industry, she was so unhappy that she was diagnosed as clinically depressed. Then in 2006, she decided to check herself into a rehab facility for 42 days to fight her bout of depression. And while inside, she realized she needed time away from the spotlight, learning that money and fame meant nothing if she wasn't in control of her mind. She's now married and involved in a number of charities to help people battle problems like depression. She's also fighting against abuse in Hollywood and is involved in the Time's Up movement. And at number 6, Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz first made a name for herself in Hollywood after she starred in the hit movie The Mask. She then went on to star in huge movies like There's Something About Mary and Charlie's Angels. She was last on the big screen when she starred in 2014's Annie. A few years later in 2018, she announced she had retired from acting. She explained that she didn't really miss performing, and she also recently became a mother at the time and wanted to focus on her new family. She also revealed on the Goop podcast that she wanted to be independent and navigate the world as an adult on her own, even adding that the movie business babied her, making her live life the way they wanted her to. She now runs a successful wine company called Avalane, which is a clean wine company, and is enjoying her new life out of the spotlight.
Halfway through list, number 5 is Lo Bosworth. You might remember her from her days on the MTV reality series Laguna Beach and The Hills. She was the ride-or-die BFF to Lauren Conrad, and fans loved seeing them on their screens every week. But she was one of the original cast members who did not return to the reboot show in 2019 called The Hills New Beginnings. That's because she is too busy working on her career that has no room for reality TV anymore. She started her own women's wellness company back in 2016 called Love Wellness. You can buy everything from vitamins, pH balancing cleansers, and other lifestyle and beauty products. When she was asked why she did not come back for the new show, she said, "When you participate in a show like that, you generally don't have creative control over how you and your character is portrayed on TV. To not be able to be in control of my own narrative is just way too risky for me at this point." You know what? I was really bummed that her and Lauren did not return to the show, but good call. Up next, number 4, we have Frankie Muniz. He was known for being Malcolm on the classic TV series Malcolm in the Middle. The show ran from 2000 to 2006 and is basically what put him on the map and made him a household name. He had a wildly successful career, which is why people were stunned when articles started surfacing saying, "Frankie Muniz trades acting for olive oil." That is right, he and his wife, Paige Price, own an olive oil shop called Outrageous Olive Oils and Vinegars in Old Town Scottsdale. Apparently, if you go, you might actually see him working behind the cash register. The now 34-year-old says, "We had been customers at the store before and we just knew we liked the product and we wanted to do something together. Now it's become our lives." He said he could see himself being a business owner for a while because he found a love for accounting and was interested in running the payroll side to things. Very random. So random. I can't believe that still. Taking over the number 3 spot is Jason Manford. The English comedian, singer, actor, television presenter, and radio presenter gave up all his titles and started to work a regular job. You might still see him popping up here and there once in a while with some things, but he announced to his fans that he got a job as a delivery truck driver. He said that he applied to a company called Tesco but got rejected, so he applied to Iceland Foods instead, the frozen food chain. He posted a photo of himself on his first day and said, "Funny how life turns out. Thanks to the staff at Iceland Foods for being so welcoming today. It was a fun morning delivering to your lovely customers." Definitely not the job most of his fans expected him to apply to when leaving his life of fame, but honestly he seems really happy, and that is all that matters. Rolling into number 2 is Vanilla Ice. He was hot stuff in the 90s. He was top in the charts with his music. His song Ice Ice Baby was his first single to reach the top of the US Billboard charts. He basically skyrocketed into fame at that time, but his music career was very short-lived. He ended up leaving music and turned his focus to jet skiing and motocross racing, but then he went down a dark path filled with drugs and his career started to collapse. He could have gotten back into his career once he got sober, but instead he decided to live a more normal life and is now working as a lighting salesman. He started working for a company called Capital Lighting in Florida, and he designed what he calls Vanilla Ice Lighting, which is a line of different chandeliers. That ad is so weird. There's like this lighting ad and it's just so weird to see Vanilla Ice selling like lights. Moving into the number 1 spot is Jon Gosselin. You would better know him as Jon and Kate +8. He was on the reality series with his wife and 8 children for over 11 seasons after it premiered back in 2007. But things got bad in their marriage in more recent years and they split up, causing their show to come to an end. So, what did he turn to after his reality stint was done? Stripping! That is right, the father of the famous 8 left Hollywood and went to Atlantic City where he made his debut as a stripper in Caesars Atlantic City. He performs in a show called Untamed Male Revue, which is a burlesque style, and it is said to be a mix of what you see in Magic Mike and Thunder from Down Under. In all fairness though, he might still have some fame, like in the strip clubs, but I don't think his life in Hollywood will ever be the same again. Oh my god, imagine your dad went on to become a stripper. I just thought of that, like the 8 children, like, oh, what's your dad do for a living? Oh man, that's a hard pill to swallow. I do not want to see my dad doing anything from Magic Mike.
And at number 10, Jamie Lynn Spears. Jamie Lynn became a household name when she starred on the hit Nickelodeon show Zoey 101. It seemed like her career was going to take off and she would join the ranks of huge Hollywood actors, but that all changed when Jamie Lynn announced that she was pregnant at just 16 years old. Instead of chasing her Hollywood dreams, Jamie Lynn decided to step back from the spotlight to raise her child. After this decision, Jamie Lynn was quickly forgotten about. She later told Glamour about the decision, quote, "I just wanted to get away from it as much as I could, to just go away and be a mom and figure out what I wanted, and to earn a sense of respect back for myself. Moved to a town in the middle of nowhere and just raised my child. All I could be was a good mother." This move resulted in Jamie Lynn getting married and having 2 children. However, even though Jamie tries to keep a low profile, she is still a public figure. This became even more obvious when she was recently hounded online over her sister's Free Britney movement. And at number 9, Shirley Temple. Whenever I think of Shirley Temple, I think of my fond memories watching her as a kid. She was so talented it's truly hard to wrap your head around. Temple is probably the most famous child actor ever, with her starring in numerous films a year while she was only a child. However, once Shirley started to grow up and phase out of her classic youthful look, her career started to decline. After years of trying to break out of her typecasting and get back to the success she had as a kid, Shirley decided to give up on acting and retired from the business at the age of 22. But her career as a public servant was just starting. She later became the US ambassador to Ghana and Czechoslovakia. She was also the first woman to hold the position of Chief of Protocol of the United States under President Ford. And at number 8, Frankie Muniz. Frankie Muniz is another star that made a name for himself while he was just a kid, starring in the hit show Malcolm in the Middle. But after many years as an actor, he decided he wanted a change of pace and he decided to become a race car driver. He was so good he even competed in the Las Vegas Grand Prix. According to People, he has endured several concussions from competing in the dangerous sport, and in 2009, he suffered a serious car crash. This ultimately led to 2 mini strokes, one in 2009 and one in 2012. Because of this, he has experienced some memory loss, but his family helps him fill in the pieces. At one point he said he would return for a Malcolm in the Middle reboot, but that has not happened yet. And at number 7, Taylor Momsen. Taylor Momsen was first known to the world for her character Jenny on Gossip Girl, where fans grew to love her girl next door look. However, as the years went on, Jenny changed dramatically on and off the show. Apparently, while she was still on the show, she decided she wanted to quit acting to focus on her music career. In 2011, she officially quit and started recording with her band The Pretty Reckless. Momsen told the Daily Beast in 2014, quote, "When I got to a place where I realized I was in control of my own life and had just found the right band and everything was coming to fruition, it wasn't even a question. I was going to quit my day job." She continued that thankfully producers wrote her out of the show and supported her decision to leave the show early. And at number 6, Kevin Jonas. The Jonas Brothers will always be my first crush, and as the brothers have grown up and gone in and out of the spotlight, it seems that Kevin has not really returned. After the brothers decided to break up their band in 2013, Kevin decided to go back home to New Jersey and earn a more traditional living. He created an app called Lloyd, which displayed nearby restaurants serving the type of food that you pick from a menu. It also featured the restaurant's Yelp rating and phone number so you can conveniently place an order. He also made a real estate development company where he builds custom homes. And this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to his entrepreneurial efforts. When the brothers briefly got back together, Kevin was present, but he's now gone back to civilian life, while Nick and Joe maintain celebrity status.
Halfway through at number 5, Kylie Jenner. Kylie is no stranger to paparazzi. After the rise of sister Kim Kardashian in the media, a new spotlight began shining on the Kardashian-Jenner family. In 2007, taping of the reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians began, and Kylie was only 10 years old at the time. Having cameras around you 24/7 and growing up with the spotlight on you like that must be incredibly difficult to manage. Kylie, having grown up so publicly, has since shown her distaste for fame. She's vocalized her anxiety when it comes to the press, saying that she wakes up every morning feeling anxious because she thinks that a bad story is gonna come out about her. She's been living with such paranoia for years, it's honestly heartbreaking. She became famous just because she's related to someone famous. She never really asked to have the spotlight put on her, but it's just something she's had to deal with on a daily basis. Kylie even hid from the world for months during her pregnancy because she just wanted to experience her pregnancy without the world watching. Seems to me that Kylie just wants to be a normal person. Coming in at number 4, Zayn Malik. Known for his part in the former boy band One Direction, Zayn was known to have his fair share of grievances when it came to his fame. After leaving the group in 2015, Zayn went on to tell sources that he came to the realization that he just didn't want to be famous and that he lost a lot of people close to him because of it. Zayn really didn't like living with the public eye, so he quit his job over it. Although Zayn decided to begin a solo career, many believed that even that was too much for the singer. After the release of Pillow Talk, Zayn followed up with a number of cancelled appearances and performances, leading people to believe that he's still not up for the spotlight just yet. Coming down to the wire here at 3, we have Avicii. Tim Bergling, also known as Avicii, was a DJ, producer, and musician well known across the world. His death back in April 2018 shook the music world. Although he is known for producing some killer music, he struggled a lot with his image. Being one of the most successful artists in the world and having sold over 10 million albums, Avicii worked hard to keep producing, but maybe he went a little too hard. Avicii was known to have struggled with his health and his fame, even going so far as to take a break from music back in 2014. The DJ went on to say that the partying and wild times that are associated with his job are really what had taken the biggest toll on his health, and that he really didn't enjoy that aspect of his job. During his break, he had 2 surgeries to remove his gallbladder and appendix, so he really did have a struggle with his health. Avicii died by suicide, and many believe that it was because of his poor mental health caused by his job and his fame. Getting close to the end at number 2, we have Britney Spears. I think we all remember the pop star's public breakdown back in 2007 and 2008. Her fall from grace was heavily documented and criticized, as the public had never seen this side of Britney before. She was previously seen as a sweet and charming girl with a baby voice, but after paparazzi snapped images of her attacking photographers with an umbrella while donning her infamous shaved head, Britney's career plummeted hard. After dealing with mental health problems, a failed marriage, and losing custody of her 2 kids, Britney's state went from bad to worse. It wasn't until her fame and the media came into the mix that things really spiraled out of control for the singer. She was labeled as crazy and was put into the care of her overprotective father. Having such a public meltdown was absolutely detrimental for the star, not only for her career but also for her mental state. Finally, coming in at number 1, Amy Winehouse. 5-time Grammy Award winning singer Amy Winehouse experienced so much during her few years of fame. She became such an overnight sensation that she didn't know how to cope with all of her newfound fame. The rehab singer started off her career strong but quickly began to falter under the weight of her own fame. The artist soon experienced severe depression and turned to substance abuse to cope with the pain. Amy was so confused and overwhelmed by all the attention she was receiving that she began getting into the wrong crowd and experimenting with heavy drugs. Amy's career came to a halt after her death in July of 2011 due to alcohol poisoning. After her death, many of Amy's fans began blaming themselves for the singer's passing because they believed that they should have helped her better navigate her place in the media. Everyone was heartbroken upon hearing of her passing, but she's just one of the many examples of what happens when fame gets to be too much.
At number 10, Billie Eilish. In recent years, singer Billie Eilish has been seeing a lot of success coming her way. After rising to fame in 2015 with her song Ocean Eyes, Billie has since gone on to become an award-winning artist, winning 7 Grammy Awards, 2 American Music Awards, 2 MTV Europe Music Awards, and 1 Brit Award, 3 MTV Music Awards, and an NRJ Award. But with all of this fame comes a lot of pressure, and because she's gained massive fame at such a young age, Billie has struggled with it, even regretting her fame at times. Back in 2019, Billie did an interview where she talked about her life in the public eye and how her career and fame has affected her life, and she spoke out about how there wasn't much in the world that brought her peace, saying that though her life is fun and exciting, she doesn't have much sense of calm in her life. When asked about her sudden rise to fame, Billie spoke out about how her fame has had such a huge impact on her childhood, where she said, quote, "I don't mean this in necessarily a negative way, but I sort of lost my teenage years because this all started when I was 13. There was no training, there's no like, let me go to a school that teaches me how to be famous," end quote. It was almost like she was thrown into the deep end before learning how to swim, and she spent the majority of her teen years navigating through all of that, which must have been so tough for someone so young to do. At number 9, FKA Twigs. Singer FKA Twigs has had her ups and downs in the media. She rose to fame through her music, but people also know her for her high-profile relationships that she's been in. The singer was previously in a relationship with actor Shia LaBeouf, and she was recently in the news after she filed a lawsuit against the actor, alleging that he hurt her several times throughout their relationship. But before this high-profile relationship, she was dating Twilight star Robert Pattinson, and this caused her to gain a lot of attention. Because Robert had such a huge following, some of the attention rubbed off on Twigs, and a lot of that attention was negative. In an interview in 2015, the singer spoke out about her experience with fame in regards to her relationship, and she said that she was struggling with the public's perception of her. As soon as they went public with their relationship, Twigs found herself under a spotlight that she wasn't ready for, and when speaking on this, she said, quote, "It's really hard. I can't begin to explain how awful it is. It makes you want to stop everything sometimes. It makes you want to smash your face into the mirror," end quote. Though she was struggling with the public eye, she did however say that it was worth it because she loved Robert so much. Now before I carry on with the list, I'd like to ask you guys to consider leaving a like on this video if you are enjoying it so far, and also consider taking some time to check out my gaming channel Viper Girl if gameplay content is something that you might enjoy. I upload every single day over there, so come check it out and maybe subscribe while you're there. At number 8, Harrison Ford. We all know Harrison Ford as the incredible actor who played Indiana Jones and Han Solo. Harrison Ford rose to fame through portraying these iconic characters, but apparently all of the fame he's received is something that Harrison himself isn't really a fan of. Turns out the actor hates being famous. In a 2010 interview, Harrison spoke out about his rocky relationship with fame, saying how greatly it has affected his life and in such a negative way. The actor said that his celebrity status has cost him his privacy in his life, saying, quote, "There's nothing good about being famous. You always think, if I'm successful, then I'll have opportunities. You never figure the cost of fame will be a total loss of privacy. That's incalculable," end quote. The actor also talked about how unrealistic the expectations of fame are, saying, quote, "What a burden that is for anybody. It was unanticipated and I've never enjoyed it. You can get the table you want in a restaurant, it gets you doctor's appointments, but what's that worth? Nothing." Harrison ended things by saying that he's only in it for the money, clarifying that acting is his job and that he's not in it for the notoriety. At number 7, Kristen Stewart. Twilight star Kristen Stewart has been acting since she was a kid, but her breakout role came about when the first Twilight film was released. After that, everyone was obsessed with Bella Swan and the actress who played her, but with that obsession and fame comes the burden of such notoriety, and Kristen has spoken out about her struggles with being in the public eye and how it has affected her negatively. In a 2015 interview with Harper's Bazaar, Kristen opened up about her love-hate relationship with fame, where she talked about how being famous is, quote, "the worst thing in the world." In the interview, Kristen commented on how at the beginning of her career, she used to feel utter panic when getting bombarded by paparazzi because she felt a loss of control and she had to learn to adapt to her surroundings over time. She continued to say, quote, "Having that much human energy thrust at you and then being critically analyzed is obviously disarming. Control issues make me so nervous. It's not knowing what's going to happen. So what people were seeing was what happens when you are terrified. My palms sweat, my knees shake, and I don't think I can stand in my heels. I'm breathing heavily, I feel nauseous, I'll be so nervous that my body creates something to calm me down and I get so tired," end quote. The actress also commented on how stupid fame can be, saying, quote, "Fame is the worst thing in the world, especially if it's pointless. When people say, I want to be famous, why? You don't do anything," end quote. At number 6, Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway has been so successful in the film industry, starring in all sorts of different films from The Devil Wears Prada to Les Miserables, but in a 2014 interview, Anne admitted that fame has really affected her for a long time. She opened up about her struggle balancing her life with the notoriety she was gaining, where she said, quote, "I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to engage with it. It stressed me out and people would say, you just have to be yourself. But I was like, but I don't know who that is yet," end quote. The actress also spoke out about the criticism she started facing after her Oscars win for her role in Les Mis, which caused her to take a break from Hollywood. Speaking on this, Anne said, quote, "My impression is that people needed a break from me," end quote. Anne has showed us that fame isn't always easy and that sometimes you need to take a step back from things for your own sake.
We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Jack Gleeson, who you might recognize from Game of Thrones. If you're a fan of the show, then chances are you hated his character. But surprisingly enough, even after acting in such an iconic show, Jack barely got any other acting roles after Game of Thrones. In 2014, he was pretty discouraged by this and said he wanted to resign from acting to focus on his academics. He ended up taking a philosophy course in Ireland. When he announced his decision to take a break from acting, he said, and I quote, "I just stopped enjoying it as much as I used to, and now there's the prospect of doing it for a living, whereas up until now it was always something I did for recreation with my friends or in the summer for some fun. I enjoyed it. When you make a living from something, it changes your relationship with it. It's not like I hate it, it's just not what I want to do." But acting isn't out of the picture. He ended up opening a successful touring theater company and starred in the BBC comedy Out of Her Mind in March. He just won't be in the spotlight as much as he was originally. Coming in at number 4, we have Freddie Prinze Jr. You might know him in I Know What You Did Last Summer, or maybe from his iconic role of Fred in the live-action Scooby-Doo. That right there is my childhood. He also appeared in a back-to-back role in Friends in 2002. Well, after appearing in season 8 of the show 24 with Kiefer Sutherland, Freddie said that he wanted to quit acting. According to him, and I quote, "I did 24. It was terrible. I hated every moment of it. Kiefer was the most unprofessional dude in the world. That's not me talking trash. I'd say it to his face. I think everyone that's worked with him has said that. Ouch." He continued on saying, and I quote, "I just wanted to quit the business after that, so I just sort of stopped." So a bad set experience is what triggered Freddie to stop acting. Nowadays though, he's a chef and released his own cookbooks. And he's married to Daphne from Scooby-Doo. Anyway, moving on to number 3, we have Taylor Lautner. After Shark Boy and Lava Girl and Cheaper by the Dozen, Taylor went on to star in Twilight, which is probably what he's best known for. Then he acted in Scream Queens season 2, which was interesting to say the least. After that, he kinda just fell out of the public eye. That was until recently when he announced his proposal to his now fiancée, Taylor Dome, meaning that they will both be Taylor Lautner if she chooses to keep his last name. It seems as if Taylor had a harder time transitioning from Twilight to more serious roles. It took a while, but his co-stars Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart both did it. Now it's time for you, Taylor. Moving on to number 2, we have Betty White, one of the purest souls out there. Betty White is just incredible, no one can deny that. And this queen is 99 years old, soon she'll be 100, which is hard to believe because she looks too good for her age. Anyway, Betty White has been slowing down on her work lately. Her recent credits are mainly voiceover work, but she has guest starred in a couple of TV shows and movies. But according to her IMDb page, since 2019 she hasn't done any work, which is completely acceptable. Like, this woman has been working since she was a teenager. I just need to know her secrets to living long and looking that damn good. And And in our number 1 spot today we have Daniel Day-Lewis. Now this one is hard to believe. Daniel Day-Lewis is incredibly talented. He's got 3 Oscars, 4 British Academy Film Awards, and even got knighted by Queen Elizabeth II. But in 2017, Daniel Day-Lewis released a statement through his rep. The rep said, and I quote, "Daniel Day-Lewis will no longer be working as an actor. This is a private decision and neither he nor his representatives will make any further comment on this subject." This was announced not long after receiving an Academy Award nomination for Phantom Thread. Now, Lewis did go into semi-retirement in the 90s, so maybe that's what's happening again. He's just gonna take a little short break and then come back. Hopefully, he'll be back making movies in no time.